you would naturally build Glacial Shroud or into a Frozen Heart pretty quickly for the cooldown reduction, but it would also make you just so beyond tanky with your shield and with your ultimate. So nerfing those a little bit definitely is a nice decision. I'm excited to see that change. There was also a small nerf to Jax, but it actually won't affect him that much. It's they took off like 40 damage off of his W late game.
Yeah.
But they didn't affect it in the early game, and so it's he won't have quite as much damage in the end. Like it is a significant nerf to his late game damage, but I feel like his late game is just so beyond strong that it's we'll still see him played significantly, and it doesn't matter to have that small damage reduction.
And so we remade the game. Everything's fine for the moment. So when it
was a Nocturne.
It was a Nocturne ban for last ban for Venatus. They hit Nocturne, and for some reason didn't register. Countdown clock went away, and it registered as no ban, so it just went ahead and remade. Now we got it.
And I mean, Nocturne's a safe ban as well.
Yeah.
The thing is, Venatus, they could have picked Nocturne if they were going to allow the Urgot, because Urgot would probably be the first pick. Mm-hmm. Even without knowing that M5 was going to pick him. Clearly, they know. They saw the M5 pick. But what it does though, if they didn't want to go with the Nocturne pick, they wanted to go with an Udyr jungle or something, then Nocturne and Urgot is just such a devastating combo. Lee Sin as well. Just to be able to have that suppression and swap from Urgot, and then have the initiation from Nocturne as well is a really insane combo. So it's smart to get out those champions. So generally some nice bans, but
we got a Xin Zhao here.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's going to be a top lane or a jungle.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this may be the first time Xin Zhao may have actually been on this stream since inception. I think this is the first time we were actually seeing him here.
Oh, you mean on IPL?
IPL,
I was like, Xin Zhao's definitely been played competitively in the past, but yeah.
But on this stream, I think this is the first time we're ever seeing him.
Yeah, and it is interesting. I think that might be going to Desterex, and we don't know, but I'm guessing that Desterex is going to be playing top lane since Darian's not here.
Yeah.
And Xin Zhao is probably a champion that he's comfortable with, and so Xin Zhao, he's okay. Like he's not bad. It's just that there's other champions that are generally stronger in some situations. But what he does have is he's got a lot of damage. He scales off of physical. If you get a fast brutalizer, his damage output is absolutely insane with his dash and then into his pop up. And so that's actually a safe lane matchup for Xin Zhao against Vladimir. But it's actually going to be a Xin Zhao jungle. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see whether or not it's Darius or Xin Zhao in the jungle. Okay, Lee Sin.
Yeah, so it's still.
It might be a Xin Zhao jungle.
It could be either. There are options. I mean, Lee Sin, Xin, Warwick. These are all options that are quite ambiguous. And
I like the Annie pick too. We saw the Annie yesterday with who was I don't even. It was yesterday. And I don't remember who played.
Legion.
That's right, Legion. And probably with some really nice Annie play in that game. They had just a ridiculous AoE comp. They were able to easily win and have fun with it.
Yeah.
So it is going to be a Xin Zhao in the jungle. So Diamond Proc's going to be playing Xin Zhao. We'll see how that works out for him. He has a lot of damage.
Yeah.
He's got a gap closer. The one nice thing, which maybe because maybe he's concerned about the effectiveness of Desterex, is that Xin Zhao is kind of more of a physical carry bruiser than some of the other junglers. So rather than playing a support jungler, he's going someone that is just going to get right up in your face and just carry the game hard if he does really well early. And it'll definitely be fun to see that pick.
Not to mention, there's a lot of obstacles right here on Venatus so far. Because they're going to be trying to get to the back line because Urgot's going to be there, and once a swap happens, then everything's just going to get into one gigantic cluster. So once Urgot comes in for a swap, Annie will follow up with Tibbers, mass stun, and Xin can just be there right in the middle of the fight to single out any characters that need to. And plus you have the ultimate as well, great AoE damage, and they're in the mix as well. Plus, in the jungle could go ahead and his ganks, once they start rolling, could be pretty devastating. You have the pop-up, that's a lot of damage, and especially bot lane, that's really, you have the pop-up, that's all the time you need for Urgot to go ahead and get the full combo.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if M5 is actually doing this, but we might see a couple of role reversals here. So M5, I think, and so this has to go with the Darian thing. So Desterex is going to be playing support. They, don't want to put him up in that top lane.
Right.
Not to say that he wouldn't do well, but so he's going to be playing support. Gosu Pepper instead of support is going to go mid as Annie, and then Alex Ich is going to go top as Aurelia. So that'll definitely be interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, both teams very strong team comps. We have the Vladimir mid for Venatus. Riven top, Graves and Tarek bottom is a really strong team. You have the armor for both Tarek and for Graves, so that'll help counteract some of Urgot's play, even though Urgot is going to have so much spam ability with Soraka. And we'll have to see how that works out for them. But we are having an Udyr jungle and then Riven top. So Riven versus Aurelia is a pretty common lane matchup. Riven has a little bit more, bursty or has a little bit more sustained damage in duels, but Aurelia also has a lot of burst damage and has the stun, so it is pretty even. I would say that Riven has generally the advantage, but Aurelia, as the lane progresses, gets some regen, and then also, a lot of it's just going to depend on ganks, so it'll mostly be even except for ganks.
So at which point, when you have to look at that, who has the stronger ganks, top lane specifically, Udyr or Xin? Xin could get the pop-up, but Aurelia can dash, could be a little bit more... Xin could get the pop-up, but Riven does have the dash away, could Q away. Udyr, Aurelia may be able to clear the gap before Bear Stance comes in for the stun.
And the thing is, it's tough to say. Usually I would say that Xin Zhao in this matchup would have the stronger ganks because he has a stronger gap closer and he's got a knock-up, and he also has the exhaust instead of the flash that Udyr took. However, like you said, against Riven, when Xin Zhao's going to come in, because he needs to hit his first 3 attacks in order to get the pop-up on his Q, Riven's just going to stun him when he dashes in, so he's not going to get that pop-up. So he will get the slow from his E, which is going to be nice, but it's going to reduce a lot of his effectiveness, and then Riven has enough mobility where she should be able to get out of there. But if we see the chain stun with Alex Ich getting the stun and then giving Xin Zhao enough time to hit those pop-ups, that's going to be a really aggressive gank. Udyr, against Aurelia, will have enough time to close the gap and get the stun in. So it is an easier gank, and with how aggressive Riven is, it will be a really, just kind of devastating gank. So we'll have to see. A lot of it's going to come down to play, but both there's just a lot of kill potential in that top lane from both of them. And then, mid, Annie versus Vladimir is actually a really fun matchup. So Vladimir, generally pretty safe in the mid, and, he will be able to farm up to that revolver. However, Annie is just so aggressive early on and has so much damage output. And Annie, Vladimir and Annie, they have the same, attack range, but Annie's animation is actually a little bit smoother than Vladimir's. And Annie can get it off faster and then back off to, get away from minions. So with the Qs and with the attack animation and then with the stun, Annie's going to have so much damage early, and she's really going to be looking to get kills on Vladimir before he can get into that mid game.
Yeah, so now it's just Annie, I mentioned this yesterday during the Legion match. She is very telegraphed when she's about to go in, because you have the stun, you have the halo still ready to be procced, and that's kind of like a warning sign to the other person. Is like, okay, I'm gonna back off a little bit. I'm going to try and farm from as far of a distance away as I can until you go ahead and just get frustrated and use your ability and get rid of the stun, do something. But at the same time, at a professional level, you don't have to use your Qs to farm. I mean, it's nice, and you will use your Qs to get the proc up, but you can just farm regularly with your auto attack and then hold the stun up and just zone Vladimir, and that's a serious threat that Annie could zone Vladimir early in the game. But as mentioned yesterday and as seen yesterday, one of the biggest threats coming in from Annie is flash, ult, and just nukes everywhere. But Vlad, on the correct reaction time, could pull to safety and still live and force Annie to waste the flash, waste the ult, and put herself in a really disadvantaged situation, allowing Vladimir to retaliate in a little bit greater fashion even. So it's going to be a very skill oriented.
It's going to be tough though. You're right, but the Annie, both the W and the ultimate on Annie are instant, and so even if Vladimir gets off his pull, he'll probably be stunned. So and to take the damage, just because that's how the game works. It'll be like when you flash and you get stunned. But it'll be difficult for him to get the pull off. And so what Annie can do, in order for Vlad to get the pull off, he needs to just plan ahead and just know when Annie's going to come in. But as a result, it's going to allow Gosu Pepper to kind of bait out the pull and get some damage out of Vladimir. So he'll want to hold his stuns, and he'll just come up, throw off a Q maybe, and then Vladimir will pull because he's like, oh, damage coming in or a stun or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then, recharge up your stun. And now when Vladimir's pull is down, because it's a long cooldown, then Annie's going to come in and just destroy him. And, once that ultimate is up, there's just so much killing potential. It's going to be a really difficult lane for Vladimir to stay in.
So Annie right now going to go ahead and charge up the stun. Alex wanders into the top tri-brush, sees the Riven pinged out, and they know that right now Venatus is a little bit split, going for the point defense. Annie sticking in the mid, charging up the stun, not quite up yet, but should be shortly if so desired, and if they realize that Venatus is going to be going in for some type of invade. There is a defensive ward placed just in case they go try to take the Wraiths, and Alex once again saying hi to Riven. How you doing? No attacks, just waiting, trying to see. Yeah, no aggression coming in from there. They're just happy to see each other.
Yeah, and so both teams taking a kind of defensive stance there. Want to just be able to get a safe jungle going for them. And Xin Zhao, he's actually a really fast jungler as the game progresses and really strong as the game progresses. The issue is he kind of has a slow start, and he's fine in the jungle. It's not that he's slow in the jungle, but if he doesn't get off any successful ganks, or if he falls behind early, then it's kind of difficult to come back as Xin Zhao, and that's kind of his main weakness. He's actually really strong as the game progresses still. It's just the fact that he needs to get off to a good start. We do see, Alex Ich, he's not actually going to be taking this, is he? He is. Alex Ich is going to be taking red buff as a top lane Aurelia, and so he started off with the cloth armor. He's not going to take a lot of damage, but initially, but he is going to take a lot just from the fact that it's going to be a long, slow red. So we'll see whether or not he can take this.
But here's the thing, though, is just that Venatus, they had the ward. They know what Alex is doing. They know he's there.
I think they didn't expect it still, but you're right. They should have expected it.
Yeah.
Udyr coming down, will be able to clear out his Wraiths, but that is just massive. We're seeing a fast level 2, for Alex Ich.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he actually stole the blue Wraith as well. It looked like he might have, but we didn't, go down and check that. But he has that red buff, and the level 2, that is just insane. So Riven, it would have been an even matchup, but now Riven is at such a disadvantage because the Blade Surge will proc that red buff. And so we're going to need to see an aggressive gank probably from Udyr. But even so, Alex Ich could probably exchange well. And here's just the damage of that red buff. Aurelia is absolutely insane.
Yeah, Venatus knew. They had the ward. They saw Alex Ich coming into the jungle. And it was like, what should have happened is you should have had 3 members of Venatus just come on in and corner Alex while still taking red. Vlad, Udyr, Riven, they were all available. They all could have come by and just attempted to stop him. He got really low because it's not the fastest of reds to try and take that level 1, especially as an Aurelia. That's
but he used his health pots, and so it cost him 3 health pots. But 3 health pots for a red is definitely a solid exchange. But
I think there is something that could have been done, and there was nothing done. So that's what happens. You lost your red, and now Udyr's going to be a little bit more behind. Riven's going to get farther behind in top lane. I don't know. It's something. I was just hoping for something more, but that's what happens. It's all done and over with now. The only thing you can go ahead and just try and put it behind you and keep the game carrying on. About 500 goal lead early on from M5 because of that early invade, and now you got Aurelia going back to lane, has purchased, going straight back with a Ninja Tabby and a ward to ensure to just keep the lead.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, it is going to be a really difficult lane still for Aurelia. And, now with that early farm advantage over Riven, the Ninja Tabby is huge to mitigate some of that damage. And it's tough. It'll be interesting to see if Alex Ich can run away with this. Riven is kind of an all-in champion because of Aurelia's nerf to a regen. It's not as much of a fall-off as it used to be, Riven versus Aurelia, but even so, just so much aggression early on. We have the ward, so Udyr coming in. Alex Ich sees him, so we'll be able to back off perfectly fine. He's actually going to wait it in, so he wants to 2v1 maybe. No, there he is finally coming off. We'll back off. He doesn't have the red anymore, so we're going to get the stun from both Riven and Aurelia. There's the first stun. There's the second stun, and they're chasing. We'll get some nice damage, but we'll have to back off, and so Udyr actually taking a nice chunk of health. And Riven now, can hopefully come back with the red buff gone.
Yeah, but even with red buff gone, like you said before, Aurelia did go back, did get the Ninja Tabby, has a lot of damage mitigation top lane, plus extra movement speed. So if Moat wants to get a little bit more damage, it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle. Not to mention that bot lane right now, Genji's actually putting in an immense hurt.
Yeah, he's trying to get that lock on, and he gets it onto Graves, so a couple more hits.
And he's positioned himself behind turret, outside turret range, just so he can go ahead and get that superior positioning. And once the minions actually climb on in, it's a safe escape.
Yeah,
It's
but
free harass.
forcing the heal, so
Yeah.
very close to picking up that kill, forcing the heal out. So nice little advantage, and we have infinite sustain with Soraka, so he doesn't have to worry about wasting any mana or anything.
Right.
And right off the bat, we just see really nice advantages all around for M5, though Vladimir has been doing pretty well in the mid lane. We've seen some harass whenever we check out that lane. We've seen some nice harass from Annie, but Vladimir, keeping himself pretty safe, is able to farm up pretty effectively.
But you see now that Ghost Pepper is 6. Tibbers is up and available. So could see a little bit more aggression coming from Ghost Pepper there in the mid. A well-timed kill would just sway the lane so much. And that's just what Tibbers does. You go ahead, you see him, does a lot of damage. He follows you, and we saw yesterday in the Legion match, just like Brand face up against a Brand, really had no chance. He hit the Tibbers, he hit everything else. It's just you're done. You're melted. And
yeah, it's the instant stun versus the delayed stun. Annie is a little bit low in mana, so Vladimir has a moment's respite. We'll be able to just continue to farm there, and Annie's going to have to go back. So this is a really good opportunity for Vlad to take a slight advantage if he can push Annie into the tower and then go back as well. Bot lane, Graves doing a decent job, and we do have a significant farm advantage right now for Urgot, but we have Udyr coming in this top lane against Alexich, not going to be able to get anything done. So Alexich, just with nice positioning, with the ward coverage, is able to just back off safely.
I'm noticing right now what Diamond Prox is doing, and not only was Venatus' jungle set behind, but Udyr has been top lane quite frequently, trying to look for ganks, trying to look for kills, trying to look for harass. So what does Diamond Prox do? Stay in the jungle, farm up, and get the level lead, get the XP lead, get the gold lead. And he's almost 6, so he's going to have the extra damage available to him as well. Just waiting for just pure letting Udyr go ahead, hop in the lane, fail what he's trying to do, and so that's just naturally Xin Zhao's just going to get it further and further ahead.
Yeah, we'll see. We have that blue pickup onto Annie. Xin Zhao definitely getting off to a nice start. He is going with that Wriggles build, so or most likely is. So we'll have to see. He could maybe transition to something like Brutalizer. He wants some sustain, but he has some sustain from his passive. It gives him regen. Yep. Which is definitely nice. And we're starting to see Urgot and Soraka bully around Graves. We could see the swap maybe just slowly harassing him down. They do have a lot of nice damage, and so we're still chasing him down, and he's out of mana. We'll have to see. Just continue to chase with that lock on so much damage.
Yeah, and there you go. Just doing the best he can to try and force Voxer to back, but he's having none of it. He wants to stay in lane. He wants to farm, and it maybe is undoing.
And you see that Genja is just perfectly fine with, instead of going for those kills, instead of going for the ultimate, he's perfectly fine with just sitting back and zoning Graves. And so right now, Graves has no opportunity to get into this lane. We do see Urgot chasing him a little bit, the dash from Graves, able to get out of there, but actually still hitting the acid. So you need to get out of there before the acid hunter procs on you, so you don't have that lock on. So we'll have to see. We do see they are grouped up for Dragon, though. Ghost Pepper coming around the backside, trying to see what he can find. Maybe see if anyone was waiting around to invade the Dragon.
Tarek wandering out a little bit, getting a little bit curious about what's going on. But yeah, Dragon is open and available just now. There's a Vord in the bush up top there by Venatus, but by the time they see the rest of the team, it's a little bit too late. They knew they couldn't challenge it, so first Dragon going to go to M5, and the gold lead now, 2K in the lead, about 10 minutes in. A lot of it is a lot of
it's bot lane.
A lot of it's bot lane is good portion farm. So 78 to 35. That is just that's brutal.
You're seeing that they have the lane zoned here, and so because Venatus, they have actually just not able to dodge it. You need to hit off that dash a little bit faster, dodge those. But because Venatus, their minions have the momentum right now. They have a larger wave. We have the swap actually from Genja, and Xin Zhao's coming up, so we're going to have the slow as well. There's the Xin Zhao coming in with the exhaust. He's going to go down very quickly. They do pick up that kill. So, because there's the momentum on the wave for Venatus, Genja can just zone them the entire game and just hold the wave down there. He's very safe to just, hold it at his tower. And so it's putting Graves into poor positions. And, you saw it resulted in the gank there for that first blood. Yep. And just a huge advantage. It's going to be really difficult for Graves to recuperate in this lane.
And just think about just seeing the combo at work. Genja gets in with the swap. Diamond Prox is nearby. 1, 2, 3 stun.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 pop up, and that's all the time needed for Urgot to get all the extra damage necessary. Quick kills can go ahead and just get quick single them out very quickly in bot lane. If not to mention bot lane's already had a huge advantage already. Genja is now nearly tripling up Voxer just purely in farm. Not to mention there's an assist on there as well. And Genja still hasn't backed. He's only got the Doran's Blade. There's been no need for him to back. And Soraka's here. And
Graves versus Urgot is a pretty even matchup. Usually if you hit the dash, you can get away from his lock on. But to be losing the lane and Urgot actually building AD Urgot. So that's actually kind of a blessing in disguise. So Urgot's going to have a lot more damage in lane, which is just so nasty to deal with if he still hits those lock-ons. But it doesn't make him unstoppable. And so AD Urgot through the mid game is weaker than going with a tanky kind of build or going with cooldown reduction. And so he will be vulnerable to dying or whatnot. And as long as we hit those dashes, if we hit the dashes and don't get the lock on, then Graves should be okay in that lane matchup. We do see Vladimir farming pretty well and has the revolvers, so he could definitely work well to carry his team, but they need the DPS. Since they have kind of a tanky team, they need Graves as DPS. And actually another swap from Genja, and we have Xin Zhao here as well.
Once again,
there's the slow. Actually not getting the pop-up from the flash, but they do get the pop-up onto Tarek, and then we'll have to back out of there.
But Genja is there. He's just tanking the turret. Actually, just getting all the harass could actually kill Voxer under turret, but it's okay. Got him low. They're going to be on the defensive end once again, but meanwhile, top lane, Alexich is actually being stunned by Udyr, trying to get the kill onto Riven, and whoa! The stun is actually going to be enough to finish off Alex. Riven was so close to going down there.
Yeah, so really nice job. And actually, Urgot gets stunned underneath the tower. Will take a lot of damage. They throw off the Ignite as well. Voxer maybe could have picked up that kill with his ultimate if he had gone for it. And actually, Vladimir ghosting in. He will have the heal. So Soraka, with just that burst heal, is absolutely insane. They were trying to bait it out, and now Voxer's very close to going down. But we have the stun once again. Oh, just barely not picking up that kill onto Graves. And then the late heal. So, kind of a weird timing for the heal and, the ultimate. But regardless, they pick up the kill against Urgot.
Venatus just getting those last two kills by the bare skin of their teeth. But hey, you know what? A kill still counts. 1 to 2, but still 2K behind though. And a lot of that is in the farming realm. And there we go. There's the pool. Get the slow down onto Diamond Procs. Just a little bit more damage, and there we go. Another kill onto Vlad. 2-0-0. He's got quite a hefty wall at this point now. Might actually, I can see an investment into a Zhonya's at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Zhonya's would definitely work out well against this team.
Yeah.
When we consider the suppression and how much burst damage they have, it'll be interesting to see whether or not we see an Urgot swap onto Vladimir, or if the Annie ult just kind of shuts him down as the game progresses. But right now, he's definitely doing well. Riven, doing a decent job as well in that top lane. We do have a farm advantage for Alexich, but with the 1-0, it's actually an even lane, so you get about 20 gold for that kill. So they're really dead even as far as farm is considered right now. We do see Alexich coming in to steal those wraiths, but the ward does spot him, so we'll see. There's not really anyone here to stop him, though, so he will get that blue wraith for free. And then actually he's just walking right up into this red, and he sees Udyr at mid. So because Udyr is mid, he can take it. He just wards it, actually, so he's not going to go for it. Will back off. It's just kind of a safe play.
Yeah, Ward should be spotting the Udyr. There it is, but Alex is actually being pressured by Riven here. Riven, Momo's actually gotten a nice level advantage for the time being, and actually top tower's ridiculously low as well. So, all the time after that kill top lane, Riven's actually doing quite a good job, taking back a little bit of control there in top lane. Stun going down, going to dissuade a little bit more harass, but Venatus is actually looking okay as we're starting to see the transition in the mid game.
Yeah, and we'll have to see, if they can kind of keep up this pressure. The issue is Aurelia, as the game progresses, just becomes so tanky and then has that backline initiation very easily onto someone like Vladimir. And if Graves doesn't have the damage as well, Graves will have nice AoE, but if Graves can't get up his damage, he's right now he's looking at not having a finished tier 2 item until almost the 30-minute mark, 25 minutes or so. Yeah. And so that's going to be really difficult. Genja with the swap once again, just absolutely abusing Graves, can get those repeated kills. One more attack will do it. One more Q, actually, there's the kill.
So now again, so let's take a look at Genja right now. 120.
He's building IE on
IE
on Urgot.
But here's the thing, though. So right now, the biggest boon, one of the biggest boons right now to M5 is Genja shutting down Graves way hard. Actually, still under tower. Here comes the Vlad ult. The bait, Vlad ult plus the Taric ult. A little bit extra damage, but they will not be able to pursue this. Heals from Soraka doing a little bit too much more than expected, but Ghost Pepper's not too far away either. Ward going down, and Dragon is actually back up. So if Venatus wants to go ahead and challenge this Dragon, they have to go through that ward, and Ghost Pepper's there with Tibbers. Oracle's going to be clearing out the ward and still guarding the pit. Ghost Pepper.
Yeah,
out front. Yep.
Annie just has such insane dragon control, not because of her damage, but just because of the fact that she can insta-win fights very easily. So, that is a pretty difficult matchup. But Vladimir's been playing it perfectly and hasn't really given Annie the opportunities to get in for those kills. Is farming very effectively on Vladimir. We do see Genja just, being so abusive in this bottom lane. So that's why Vladimir's starting to come down here a little bit more, as he wants to help them out. We do see Graves, not getting hit there, so that's definitely nice. But even so, it's just a really aggressive lane that's really just putting on the pressure.
Yeah, Genja right now is one of the biggest boons to M5 because he's getting pretty well farmed and he's denying Voxer farm. However, because you're going for the IE build, you're going to be significantly less tanky as the later team fights come in, and that could spell trouble. Udyr getting a stun on the Soraka. They want to go ahead and single her out. Stun, follow up, going down onto the Urgot, but they're still going to go ahead. They're going to go ahead and dive this. They got the ultimate from Graves, still taking on a lot of damage. Another stun from Udyr coming in, and that will get it. That will get the kill for Voxer.
And if Taric tanks this, they could. Oh, they're not going to go for it. So if Taric could tank that, they would have been able to pick up the kill onto Soraka. They are just kind of pushing down that tower there, and we do see a gank from Ghost Pepper in the top lane while it was happening with that instant rewind.
Ghost Pepper comes in just to help secure the kill. That's all really Ghost Pepper did. He just came in with the Q. Thanks for helping, guys.
And we actually see they're diving bottom. We shouldn't have fast-forwarded, really, but there's the stun. We have the red buff. They will be able to easily pick up that kill onto Soraka.
Yeah, Soraka really had nowhere to go. I mean, he had all three members of Venatus actually just going right behind tower. Where's Soraka going to go? She doesn't really have anywhere. You try recalling, but it probably wouldn't have happened in time. So you get a dive like that, three members down. You have one other character forced to stick to the tower. Like, you're dead too. You might as well just accept your fate.
Yeah, I mean, she was dead once Urgot was dead. They had three people down there, tanking. There was no reason for them not to dive her.
Yeah.
So a 5-3 advantage, and they're keeping the gold pretty even against M5. So really nice job by Venatus here.
Yeah.
We'll see how they can kind of pursue it. We have a really tanky team for M5, and that's going to be the concern. Is we have so much damage output and a tanky team. And so even though we have a fairly tanky team for Venatus as well, all of their damage is centered around Vladimir, really. And Riven, will normally have a nice amount of damage, but Riven's behind as well. Riven's doing, decently, but I guess Riven's probably just holding up. How much gold does Riven have? She's probably close to getting a BF sword. She actually does. So she wants to get that Bloodthirster, which is going to be nice for damage, but she is going to be kind of vulnerable to some of the burst from M5, particularly Annie. Annie is just absolutely going to crush Riven in these fights. And so as a result, almost all of their damage is going to be from Vladimir, and Vladimir isn't going to be enough to 1v5 them. They need the follow-up from Graves, and it's just so difficult because Genja's putting him so far behind.
Right. But it's happened. Genja is killable. He's not invincible, and he's not building tanky because he's going for the IE build. So, increased aggression down bot lane from Venatus, like this, like the Udyr coming down, and the Vlad coming down as well, just to try and keep Genja, off of tower. Keep him from being so aggressive, could help rebound things bot lane, but Voxer's got a long way to go in terms of gold, in terms of farm, in order to catch up to Genja. That's nearly 2k in gold of a deficit for Graves to actually catch up. Now the swap going down onto Taric, and Aurelia is here to get all the damage necessary to finish off with the kill. The slow from the Trinity Force is going to be more than enough to keep him in check. bot lane should continue to press, but Vladimir and Udyr are not too far behind, but Riven meanwhile will be taking top turret, and there goes the turret, actually getting some free damage onto Alexich, and now Venatus is still under tower, looking to defend this. The heal going down from Soraka, keeping everyone topped off, and still
Annie's coming in, though.
Annie's coming in. Gosu Pepper is not too far behind with the stun and with the Tibbers, but there's that 6th sense coming in from Venatus. There's the bear, the flash, not getting anything of it.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Gosu Pepper not catching on. He probably could have used his ultimate for Vladimir, but I don't think he has enough damage now. And so Vladimir, he is pretty tanky. He probably would have just pulled after we saw the Annie ult, and so Annie really needs to kind of wear him down a little bit. So didn't want to waste it. We'll have to back off. We do see a turret, but Riven, able to get the turret top as well. So able to back off from Xin Zhao coming in there trying to stop him, but gets some of that farm back. And so we will see a Bloodthirster now on Riven, which is going to be really nice. See what kind of damage output we can see there.
So now I'm thinking, where does Venatus go from here? Top tier 1 is gone. Bot tier 1 is gone. There's a little bit of an opportunity for Graves to just go ahead and free farm, because Urgot, he's now taking a lot of the jungle creeps, looking to probably stay with the team a little bit more. So there's a pretty healthy wave bot lane for Voxer as well. So good. It's not going to be enough, but it's a good start. And if M5 does not get really super hyper aggressive here, and actually Alex is actually getting a little bit too overzealous. Udyr is in the jungle, gonna get the stun, follow up with another stun from Riven. The Q's dealing all the damage,
with the zoning.
Vladimir is just about here with the Q and all the damage necessary. Now M5 needs to be M5 needs to start grouping up here, because individual members being caught out like that is how games rebound. That is how Venatus is gonna get back into this game, getting extra farm on everyone necessary. And Vlad is someone you really do not want a massive amount of farm on.
The big thing is Aurelia would like to split push that top lane, and it's fine. Aurelia can put on the pressure on the map. And then when kills, come and Aurelia dies, it's not that big a deal as long as the team is doing something else. And so if M5 was grouped up and ready to take something like Dragon in that opportunity, that'd be great. They lose Aurelia, but they get a Dragon. But instead, it was just a free loss, and there was really no reason for her to go down without M5 taking any advantages. We do see we have the Oracle still, and actually Udyr surrounding Genja here. He will be able to get this stun around the backside. There's the swap from Urgot going to get that off, but there's the Taric stun as well. They will be able to get out of there, and we have plenty of damage, but they don't want to tank this. So really nice job from M5 there. And Gosu Pepper.
Can you get the Tibbers? Can we get a stun? Can you get something? Right now, Venatus is in full retreat. They are afraid of the bear. There's a silence, and Xin Zhao getting the pop-up. Are we going to focus down? Looking to try and get the kill quick onto Taric, but Urgot is back, and Vladimir will be the first one to melt. And right now, all of the damage from Venatus is now gone. Free Qs, free damage now. While in full retreat, they may actually go ahead and dive this. Yes, they are. Diamond Prox is going to go ahead and tank the turret. Udyr being out in front, getting caught a little bit, and the stun from Gosu Pepper is now up. Can we actually use it? The stun, can we get another pop-up? Yes, and Graves will now fall as well. There is the Tibbers, and that is quick. Man, I think it's a little bit of a delayed ace even.
Yeah, and so M5, they're at that point in the game where they can just, destroy Venatus, and that was always the concern, was they are so tanky as a team, they have so much burst damage, so it's going to be really difficult to, see what's going to happen.
So there we go, Gosu Pepper.
And we just found out something interesting. M5, unfortunately, because they were delayed in getting into the game, because of how late it was, they were penalized one game. So they're actually down 1-0 right now. M5 is down, and if Venatus is able to win this game, then M5 will be out. But we'll have to see. Right now, M5, they definitely are at that point in the game where they're just incredibly strong. They can, easily pick up this win. But it's difficult. I mean, Vladimir definitely a little bit more farm than they expected. Riven a little bit more farm than M5 expected. And if we can get that Graves damage going, he's starting to catch up as well. He's going to be pretty strong. And we see Xin Zhao caught out of position, but Annie is coming up. Annie's going to get the really nice ultimate. It's actually down, so no ultimate coming. And Diamond Proc's really close to going down. Will dash to the minions to try and get out of there. Urgot with the backup, so they will be able to get out of there. But that could have been devastating, because that could have maybe resulted in a Baron for Venatus.
Actually, it may still, because there's a pretty huge chunk down on Diamond Procs, and if one member of M5 gets caught out a little bit out of position, and remember, Urgot is not building too tanky. He's going for straight pure damage. He can be singled out and killed pretty easy. Same thing, Annie may have a lot of health, but defensive-wise, not a whole lot of other options. And here's the thing, though. If Vladimir can stay alive, the longer Vlad stays alive, the longer these team fights go out, Venatus just increases their chances of winning that much. But if Vladimir melts immediately, now there's an issue. Now there's a problem. But single members of M5 have been caught out before. It's not outside the realm of possibility. But for the time being, though, playing a little bit defensive, and M5's actually ravaging their jungle in the meantime, stealing the blue. Should be going over to Gosu Pepper. Yes, it will. And bot lane's starting to push up. Top lane's starting to push up a little bit. But now you see every member sticking together around in the jungle. Alex Itch getting a little bit too far out, but the ward will see him.
Yeah, we see Riven actually building towards that GA, so a really nice decision there.
Oh, yeah.
She needs that survivability because the issue is M5 has so much burst right now that even if Riven and Vladimir are decently farmed, they will be able to pick up kills very easily. And so Venatus needs to play a really safe game in the team fights and make sure they're all kind of split up. Don't allow them to get a good engage. And the thing is, both Aurelia and Xin Zhao are going to try and force fights by just diving at Venatus. And then when Venatus responds, they're like, oh, hey, Aurelia and Xin Zhao are here. Well, let's attack them. They're all going to tend to clump up, and that's when Gosu Pepper is going to come in. That's when he's going to strike, is after they're focused on Aurelia and Xin Zhao. And we can't allow that to happen. They can't allow that to happen. They need to back off. So Venatus, just doing a really nice job so far keeping in this game. And again, M5 down 1-0 because of the early delays, because they weren't prepared. So we'll have to see whether or not Venatus can take this. But right now, it's a serious uphill battle.
Oh, yeah.
M5 is so strong. Aurelia is so tanky at this point with that Triforce, maybe building into a Frozen Mallet or even a Warmogs.
He's coming on in. Udyr is still he's not going to be doing the best in a 1v1 situation against Aurelia, but there comes the dash and the stun from Riven, and now the rest of Venatus here has no choice but to flash over the wall into the Baron. So red will be secured for Venatus, but there is actually still a stray ward that Udyr has not managed to grab, and with that, got vision onto the Taric, has to flash over the wall, and now you're in the bush, and now you realize, oh, so that's how they know we were here. There's a ward in the bush. They're going to go ahead and clear that out.
Yeah, and really nice job by Taric there, first moving towards the mid lane and then flashing back so that Xin Zhao couldn't continue the chase. But, even so, it's at any kill now, could lose the game for Venatus and just result in a Baron, which would make M5 basically unstoppable at this point. But then again, if Venatus is able to, get the kill, maybe they get a Baron as well and put M5 at a disadvantage. We'll have to see. We have, the Shirelias on Soraka, so they have great initiation. They just have, it's weird. They don't have, like a... They just have great initiation all around. So basically, they can just start the fight. Just have Aurelia and Xin Zhao dive. Have the Urgot swap ready to them. Urgot, because they have those tanky up fronts, can sit back and be a little bit safer. Instead of building the IE, actually goes Bloodthirster into a Last Whisper. So has just so much damage output. Is going to completely shred whoever he's targeting.
And Aurelia got Trinity Force and Warmogs. All the extra health going to stay ridiculously tanky in those team fights. So Guardian Angel probably going to be coming up after that as well. Death Cap in the works for Annie. The Rod of Ages, are you fully farmed? Yes, you are. And the Kage's Lucky Pick, eventually going to go to DFG with that as well. Get a little bit extra burst. Stun is up. Tibbers is up. The wave is pushing, so Venatus now does...
And Riven is up top.
Oh, Riven is up top. Riven is alone. So there's not going to be here to defend this, and there's not really a whole lot Venatus can do, because if they didn't get too close, then you're going to have a big teddy bear, and then you're going to have a big problem. But the pressure will continue, and now Riven is here to rejoin with the rest of the team. So if this push backfires, could see something, but Riven has bought the GA now. So there's a little bit less risk involved, but still pretty dangerous this time. Going down onto Alex Itch, going to go back off, and there you go. Taric is way too far out of position. There goes a Vlado. This is a forced engage. Venatus has no option at this point. They have to go in on this, and the swap going down from Urgot onto Riven. Will die, but there's the GA, but you may actually get corner out here. But Annie doing all the work necessary on the Vlad, and now your main source of damage is gone. Now in a full retreat. The kill does go down under Urgot back in the back lane, but Riven's still too far away, and M5 is still pretty healthy and can go ahead and take this turret outright. A 1-for-2, but positional advantage, M5 in spades.
Yeah, it's M5. Again, just has such a strong teamfight team in this late game. Having those uber tanks and having the follow-up damage, they will pick up this inhibitor pretty easily, and it's just going to be extremely difficult for Venatus to recover from this. So, we'll see M5 probably going to back off, buy some items, go pressure Baron.
Yep. So Dragon could be a quick pickup as well, but with that inhibitor down, they could really take both with how far ahead they are. And there was a chance for Venatus to actually try and take that team fight, but Tarek just got caught out. He was way too far out in front, trying to get a stun, trying to get something to follow up, but he's right there. He's right on the front line. He's pretty squishy, and that was all M5 needed. That's all the reason they needed to go on in. Venatus is down to member, and there's the tower, there's the inhibit, and that's the story.
Yeah, and the big thing is, just we don't have enough tankiness or sustained damage from Venatus. And, we see Graves has that Infinity Edge, which is nice. He had it in the previous fight. Didn't really help him out that much. Riven had the Guardian Angel, which was nice. She knew, all right, we've got a lot of burst damage. The Guardian Angel is going to help me, continue to be aggressive and not have to worry about just insta-dying. But even so, just the fact that they can kill one after the other, and then Riven sitting in the middle of them. You saw Riven with the quick dash out at the end there, sneaking away. But
Diamond Brox get the ward in the bush, actually steals the blue and runs away. Popping the Shurelius to a quick escape. Wow.
Yeah, and it's just so difficult for Venatus to have any sort of pressure in this game right now because of how strong M5 is and how strong their late game. And we're starting to see the Xin Zhao pick. Xin Zhao is very strong late game. It's just whether or not he can get into that late game. He's doing more of a support build, so having just a really nice tanky presence, and with his ultimate, the armor and MR he gets there as well. And so it's all about initiation for the setup for Annie and for Urgot so that they can follow up with the damage. And Alex Ich is borderline unkillable now. Having that Warmugs in the last fight, we saw it was just so difficult for them to take him down, and M5 just really able to control fights very effectively.
So now it's just this point, just securing objectives, tower for tower, and at this point, M5 just may just go straight out and take Baron. Aurelia is actually already started on it. There is a ward in the pit, but should get discovered pretty soon once Soraka gets on in there. But they're just going to go ahead and try and bait everyone out. Venatus is here trying to do something. And they're all just at the ramp being very indecisive, but Urgot's right there. There is Genja, and the stun going down. Everyone from M5 leaves the pit. Udir's a little bit too far out, and there's the Tibbers. There's all the damage. And Riven, your GA went down last fight, and that's really about it. Ignite going down onto Vlad, and Annie is in chase.
Just the M5 Circle of Death.
M5 Circle of Death, and there's the flash from Alex for the stun and all damage. And there we go. Vlad goes down as well. Got a nice, pretty healthy creep wave going on up into the mid.
I'm surprised that they decided to do Baron. So M5 sitting back doing Baron, which is okay, but they could have just ended the game right now if they all just came down for the Nexus.
Yeah.
So, getting Baron is nice, but
there's
plenty of time. I guess Alex Ich can probably take it on his own.
Actually, yeah, it's very possible. He's got all the damage, so he has a training force. He's just going to go do it by himself. Ghost Pepper is there just for emotional support, and there you go. The Nexus now being focused. Everyone from Venatus is now trying to get a nice little last stand defense. But the rest of M5 is here. There's Diamond Prox, get some quick damage. Can you focus down to Tarek or the Graves even? That'd be a nice pick as well. But there you go. They have no choice but to retreat to the fountain. Nexus being focused, the Shurelius popped, and that is it. Game 1 going to be going to Moscow 5. Good job, and going to be going to game number 2. We'll also get a quick story.
Basically game number 3.
Yeah, basically game number. We'll get a quick story from Nick Allen, what went down during a commercial break. But for the time being, though, going to be going on to last game. It's already 1-1. And that game, though, it's bot lane was just all M5. It was all in their favor. Mid lane was still kind of a little bit stagnant, but that's the thing is, Venatus' team, all their damage, the biggest source of damage, it was all on Vlad. And once anyone gets caught out, once anyone dies from Venatus' team, it's immediately a full-on retreat.
Also, it's AP versus tanks, and so HP naturally counters out magic damage. Vladimir, he does have a lot of sustained damage, but he doesn't have enough damage to take down this full tanky team. I don't care how powerful Vladimir is. If he had gone 20-0 and was fully fed and fully farmed, he still wouldn't have been able to take down M5's team. because we need the AD physical damage. Graves, getting back into the game, doing a decent job there, but even so, was just so far behind. And Riven in team fights, Riven has great late game damage, but Riven needs to have smaller fights and needs the fights to be disorganized so Riven can fight people 1v1. Riven can't run into an AoE team with Xin Zhao AoE and with Annie AoE and all this stuff. So you saw Riven just being bursted down almost immediately as well, even though they did a pretty decent job. So Venatus with some really nice play, just not quite able to make it happen because of how strong M5's team was late game. We'll have to see how they kind of regroup. I personally wouldn't give them Urgot, and I think Genja with a weird build going, AD, it gives him a lot more damage. And so the nice thing about that damage is with Soraka, he's tanky regardless. And so, Venatus is like, oh, we have to kill Urgot because otherwise he has too much damage, so he's going to kill us. So if they kill Urgot, well, then the rest of the team is just going to absolutely obliterate them. So it actually did work out for them not going for that tanky build. We'll have to see. I mean, I think I would probably see a Urgot ban, though, coming in this next game.
Yeah, but when you're so far
or Soraka
ahead,
as well. Soraka being probably a safe ban as well.
But when you're so far ahead into the lead, I mean, there was a point where Genja actually tripled the farm on the Graves, and he's like, when you're that far ahead, it's like, you know what, I might as well just go straight out full damage because you're so far ahead. It's not. It's really not. It's a non-issue really. You could just go ahead and build whatever you want at that point if you're just going to straight out farm.
But it gives the potential for a comeback because you are going to die in fights.
And there are a lot of options where that almost happened. So just you saw a lot of Venatus actually mobilizing, Vlad coming down from mid, Udyr coming from the jungle, a lot of great ganks down bot. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. But it's okay. We're going to go ahead. We're going to go on to the last set. We're going to go to a quick commercial, and we're also going to get the full story.
Well, they were late, so that was the full story.
They were late, but there might be more to it. We'll find out. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. We will be back in just a few moments. Last game, M5 Venatus is going to be coming up in just a few minutes, so do please stay tuned.